The Galactic Council's emergency session had been called for the third time in a standard month, and Ambassador Zexathera of the Kalani Federation was growing tired of the same desperate discussions. The holographic display showed the Forbidden Sector, a sprawling nebula of dead worlds and twisted metal that had been quarantined for over 3 millennia. The humans have established 17 colonies in the Necropolis sector, announced Councillor Vorth, his crystalline voice resonating with disbelief. 17, in the most cursed region of known space. A collective shudder ran through the assembled representatives. The Necropolis sector wasn't just dangerous, it was wrong. Ancient civilizations that had once ruled the galaxy had met their doom there, leaving behind ruins that drove most species to madness merely by proximity. The psychic echoes of whatever catastrophe had occurred there still lingered, whispering terrible secrets to anyone foolish enough to listen. Perhaps they don't understand the danger, suggested Ambassador Thrilka, her tentacles writhing nervously. Humans are still relatively new to galactic society. They might not comprehend. They understand perfectly, interrupted Captain Morse, the sole human representative present. The grizzled man leaned back in his chair, seemingly unbothered by the horrified stares directed his way. We've read your historical records, your warnings, your religious texts about the cursed realm of the ancients. We just don't care. The council chamber erupted in shocked chittering, clicking, and harmonics of distress. Zexathera raised a scaled hand for silence. Captain Morse, surely you cannot mean that your people are willingly exposing themselves to such abominations? Morse chuckled, a sound that somehow made the temperature in the chamber seem to drop. Ambassador, let me tell you about my homeworld. Earth. Beautiful blue marble. Perfect gravity. Nice atmosphere. Also home to creatures that could kill you in 1,000 different ways. We've got spiders whose venom can dissolve flesh, bacteria that can shut down your organs, weather systems that can level cities, and radiation that can cook you from the inside out. He stood up, pacing slowly around the circular chamber. But here's the thing. We didn't run away from Earth, we made it home. We learned to live with the dangers, to adapt, to thrive in conditions that would terrify most species. Your cursed ruins? They're just another Tuesday for us. But the psychic emanations, began Councillor Vorth, are fascinating. Morse interrupted. Our archaeologists are having the time of their lives. Dr. Sarah Chen just published a paper on pre-extinction Zephyrian architecture that's revolutionizing our understanding of dimensional engineering. And Professor James Okafor? He's been living in a ruined temple complex for 6 months cataloging what you call whispers of the damned. He calls them really interesting audio logs. Zexathera felt her chromatophores shift to deep purple, the Kalani equivalent of nausea. Captain, those ruins have driven entire expeditions insane. The last Kalani survey team, they were found clawing at their own neural interfaces, babbling about the hunger between stars. Yeah, we read about that, Morse said sympathetically. Tragic, really. But you see, that's the difference between us and, well, everyone else in this galaxy. When we encounter something that whispers terrible secrets, we don't run screaming. We record it, analyze it, and figure out how to use it. The captain gestured to his datapad, and the chamber's display changed to show bustling human settlements built directly into the skeletal remains of ancient megastructures. Children played in the shadows of monuments that had once housed eldritch horrors. Families had picnics on crystalline formations that still hummed with otherworldly energy. New Pompeii was built inside the ribcage of what your records call a god-eater leviathan, Morse explained casually. Population, 2.3 million and growing. Paradise Falls is constructed around a dimensional rift that your people believe leads to the realm of eternal screaming. We turned it into a hydroelectric plant, powers the whole settlement. This is madness, whispered Ambassador Thrilka. This is humanity, Morse corrected. We're the species that looked at the most hostile planet we could find and decided it wasn't challenging enough. We split the atom dived to the deepest ocean trenches and launched ourselves into space before we even knew if we could survive it. Your ancient ruins, your cosmic horrors, they're just the next frontier. He paused at his seat, placing both hands on the table. And speaking of frontiers, I have some good news to share. Our xenoarchaeology teams have successfully activated 3 of the ancient gateway networks. We'll be expanding our presence in the sector significantly over the next few years. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Finally, Zexathara found her voice. Captain, what if you awaken something that should have remained buried? What if your people's fearlessness leads to a catastrophe that affects the entire galaxy? Morse smiled, an expression that on human faces could somehow appear both reassuring and terrifying. Ambassador, let me share something with you. Earth has a saying, home is where the heart is. But humanity learned a long time ago that home isn't about safety or comfort. Home is about belonging, about making your mark on the universe and refusing to be pushed around by anything, living or dead, ancient or cosmic, natural or otherwise. He gestured toward the display showing the thriving human colonies amidst the dreaded ruins. Your species see cursed monuments to civilizations that fell to cosmic horror. We see prime real estate and fascinating historical sites. Your people hear the whispers of ancient evils. We hear new information to be cataloged and studied. Captain Morse gathered his materials and headed toward the exit. Before leaving, he turned back to the assembly one final time. The galaxy has spent 3,000 years being afraid of those ruins. Maybe it's time someone moved in and turned on the lights. As the chamber doors sealed behind him, the assembled representatives sat in contemplative silence. Outside, through the station's viewports, the necropolis sector gleamed with the warm lights of human civilization, transforming the galaxy's greatest fear into something that looked almost welcoming. Zexathara realized with a mixture of horror and admiration that perhaps the most terrifying thing in the galaxy wasn't the ancient ruins at all. It was the species that looked at cosmic horror and said, "Nice neighborhood, we'll take it."